And this is where running a couple of intro videos or doing a monologue would come in super handy.
Well, right now, just more a case. I'm just waiting for YouTube to actually activate. I did just hit it for live, but sometimes YouTube doesn't.
YouTube has like that 8-second delay. So all that stuff that you're doing while you're waiting for YouTube is accumulating and it's showing it out.
Well, because there we go. All right. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Mikestand. Hey, Mitsui, our friend from England.
Hey, Natsuni, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
All right. So, of course, welcome to the Mikestand, everybody. The first, our first historical comic retrospective of 2025. Before we talk about what I am good. I'm good, thanks. All right. Of course, before we do talk about what we're going to be doing tonight, let me, of course, introduce my co-host for the evening, and I'll give him a chance to introduce himself as well. There's Mr. R.J. Carter from Critical Blast. I've noticed too of late. I guess people have been funneling their shows through your channel now as well.
Yeah, because I don't care about my YouTube anymore. So go ahead, use it all you want.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, RJ, I'll give you the floor for a moment if you want to, of course, introduce yourself, promote anything you're doing.
Sure.
You know the shtick.
I know the shtick. Well, gosh, I can't pick any single project right now. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, myopic proofreader for Critical Blast Publishing, Chief Envelope and Stamp Licker for Critical Blast Logistics, and I will help you with your crowdfunder through Critical Blast Consulting as I look over your data. That being said, wow, bonus year last year. We cash flowed over $100,000 in the logistics business last year, just shipping out people's comics. So thank you, everybody who selected Critical Blast for your crowdfund fulfillment. We do appreciate it. We hope to do you proud and continue that business relationship next year. Critical Blast Publishing, we bought 100 ISBNs at the beginning of last year, and we used the very last one at the end of the year. So this year, we're going to buy 1,000 ISBNs and see if that lasts us a little bit longer. We've been publishing a lot of hardcover omnibuses lately, collecting stories from the 80s and the 90s. Stuff like Flare from Heroic Comics, which is a pretty thick little volume here. This collects the first 10 issues.
A comic that thick before.
It's thick. It's
Is that a comic or is that a full-on book?
It is 10 comics plus the first appearance of Flare from League of Champions. We have struck up a very healthy relationship with Heroic Publishings. We have done the Morgan Wars, which was the crossover with League of Champions and Southern Knights from David Anthony Kraft Publications. We've done the Southern Knights compilation. We've done the, which is 1,100 pages, makes Flare look like a manga. We've done their X-Thieves. And now through Heroic, we have done Captain Thunder and Blue Bolt, which is Roy Thomas's brainchild that he published through them. And we are going to be working on She-Bat very soon. So we've got the files in for that.
Not to be confused with Fembat, right?
Not Fembat, She-Bat.
Yeah, a little Apex plug there for him.
Absolutely. Go Apex. But yeah, we're doing She-Bat, and we're doing already working on the files for Flare Archive Volume 2, plus a compilation of what they did with Flare for the Sunday Comics. They did a Flare Sunday Comics run for about 52 weeks, so we're going to put all those into a book.
All right. So anything more you want to add before we move on here?
It's we're keeping the design team busy this month because it's 2025, so things fell into the public domain that affect comics. Things like the first appearance of Popeye. We also saw Tarzan's strips fall into the public domain, the comic strips. Also, Buck Rogers comic strips have fallen into the public domain, and the first year of Tintin, the first half of the In the Land of the Soviets adventure.
Well, actually, it's not just comics. So I've heard a lot of cartoons are also falling into public domain this year as well.
Absolutely, they are. So it's even though they're public domain, they're still touchy. You got to approach them the right way, because a lot of that public domain stuff, while the copyright is gone, the trademark is still there. So you can't. There's still a trademark on Tintin, and there's still a trademark on Tarzan. You can't use the name in the title of the book. You can use it in the book because that is the character, but you can't sell a book called Tarzan or Tintin.
So you got to change the name up somewhat to.
Yeah, you got to change the name of the book. So, Jungle Adventures, right there. No one can argue with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, so with that, then, anything more you want to add before?
No. That's enough. Tell us what we're reading tonight.
Okay. Just a friendly reminder before we do get started. If you haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we get some more friendly people in here to engage, it'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So tonight, of course, we're going to be reading through books that went on sale in April of 1940 from Fox Feature Syndicate. We'll be, of course, reading from Weird Comics, Volume 1, Issue 3, Science Comics, Volume 1, Issue 5, Fantastic Comics, Volume 1, Issue 7, Mystery Men Comics, Volume 1, Issue 11, and Wonder World Comics, Volume 1, Issue 14. The features we'll be covering, of course, will be Fox's version of Thor, Fox's version of Dynamo, the Golden Knight, Blue Beetle, and Yarko the Great. Now, before we get into the actual reading, we're gonna just kind of take a quick breeze through some of the other characters that we cover. I'm gonna go through the summaries on Grand Comics Database. Then once we get done with that, we'll get right into the reading here. Just so you guys are just more in tune with the Fox universe and all that. So we'll do those as quickly as we can, and then get right into the readings. All right. So, in fact, I should have probably had this fully set up already, but oh well. What was that?
I said nothing. I'm just getting my hat on. That's when you know I'm serious.
So aside from Thor, of course, let me see. In Weird Comics, let's see, who are some of the other people we tend to. Well, let's see. The Voodoo Man is battling the Pig Baka in a fantasy supernatural adventure. Birdman, not to be confused with the Hanna-Barbera.
Birdman.
He makes an alliance with a bear. And those are the other two that we've looked at from Weird Comics. So now we'll move on to Science Comics real quick here. See what other adventures are in the world in Science Comics in the Fox universe. Of course, aside from Dynamo, Eagle tackles a science ray built by Augustus Elba and Dr. Passendorf. In this fantasy, in this fantasy supernatural adventure with Neil Gershwin supposedly doing the pencils and inks. Let's see who else on here. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Doctor Doom of Fox universe was handling the Grand Canyon menace, and that's sci-fi story. So now let's see now. Now, of course, getting ready to move on to Fantastic Comics. See some of our other friends in Fantastic Comics, aside from, of course, the Golden Knight that we're going to be looking at. So aside from of course, Golden Knight and his adventure, let's see, Samson battles Sanglor and his hypnotic ray. And it's not Sanglor who has developed a ray that hypnotizes people, take control of the world's statesman. And that's superhero saga. Let's see, who else do we do here? Have we done here? Let's see. Stardust. Stardust takes on does battle with Jip Cliff and his anti-solar ray from basically a story by Fletcher Hanks. And then in Mystery Men Comics, aside from, of course, the Blue Beetle story that we'll be doing in that. Let's see. The Green Mask deals with the King of Dope, Hosen. So yes, they did have drug dealers back in the 30s as well.
Oh, they've had drugs for a while.
And Zanzibar deals with the poison dart murders from Bull Marco and Slug, Slick, and Slug and Slick. So there we go with that. Wonder World Comics. Aside from the Yarker story, of course. The Flame deals with the killer's war on the wealthy.
I'm hearing about 6 hours worth of stories here.
Huh?
I'm hearing about 6 hours worth of reading here tonight, Mike.
Oh, just from well, I mean, I'm just all I'm doing is just putting it out there. We're not gonna. These are the stories we're not reading.
Oh, okay. That's like that's a lot.
No, I'm just all I'm doing is just like these are the stories we're not reading. I'm just letting people know what they are if they want to go in the event they want to go check them out for themselves.
Yeah,
remember,
and of course, you and I both
sample show.
And as you and I both know, these comics weren't like the 22-page one hero books we have today for $6. They were 50-page, 7, 8 heroes and 8 stories for 10 cents.
Right. Patty O'Day heads to Finland to deal with the Nazis. Patty O'Day, newsreel reporter from Claire S. Moe. The Phantom Rider Tex Mason battles a villain named Manners. Spark Stevens of the Navy has to deal with Clang and the explosive ship christening. And that's all of the warm up, as it were. So now let's get to the let's get to the main attraction. So those are stories that if you guys should want to, and go check out for yourselves. So now let's get started on the actual reading for the tonight. And the first stop we're going to be going to is, of course, Weird Comics number 3 and Fox's version of Thor. So I get that. And of course, RJ, I'm sure you'll love to do the narration as always, and we'll figure out the other characters as we. And Wayne's here. Hey, Wayne. Let's see.
Hello, Wayne. You're there. Camera. Okay.
Hello. A bit. All right, so here we go. One last reminder before we get into the actual reading. If you guys haven't already, you guys can like and share the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anybody, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, hello, you YouTube user. Glad to see you. I hope you enjoy the show. Think of subscribing if you haven't already. And then, hi, said Wayne. All right. So with that, let's start getting into this. You can see all that, right, RJ?
I can. I got full screen up here. I will be able to read just fine. My old man eyes can pick these letters up. Ooh, there's a giant comic scope inside.
Yeah.
For the people who couldn't see the book.
Well, you want to say the title there and
it's weird comics. I suppose that weird comics should be read in a sort of Boris Karloff voice.
Maybe. Gift offer, giant comic scope. See inside cover. All right, there's of course the advertise. You want to read some of that right there, RJ?
Boys, girls, send today for the amazing new comic scope. Registered U.S. Patent Office, patent pending. Practically a gift. Not a toy.
Here we go.
Thor by Wright Lincoln, God of Thunder. That's we're not used to that Thor. Grant Farrell, invested with the magic powers of Thor, God of Thunder, defends America against a sudden invasion of a dictator-ruled power. In Mexico, the agents of Grotnia meet to discuss plans for an invasion of the USA.
Sound familiar to you, RJ?
Yeah, everybody was invading the U.S. except Germany in the comics back in the 40s.
Well, yeah, but there's a particular this one in Dynamo. There's a particular reason why I picked these two stories as the big stories for tonight. Can you figure out? Can you figure out why I picked this one for tonight?
Nope, not a clue.
What have people been talking about for like the last few years, and feeling like what's been going on?
People invading from Mexico?
In a sense, yeah. Maybe not in this manner, but if you get what I'm saying, can you figure out where I'm going with it yet?
Nope, but I'll figure it out as we move along.
Well, the immigration issue.
I'm not as politically in tune as many other people are in our circles.
All right. But, people believe that because of all the influx of people illegally crossing the border, it is kind of like an invasion from Mexico, even though it's not technically an invasion. That's kind of where I was going with that. But since you're not as politically attuned, but anyway.
That part I've heard.
Huh? What was that?
That part I have heard, yes.
Okay.
Troops are rushed from Europe to Central America by plane and sea. Hundreds of Grotnians land on Mexican shores. The generals are now ready to declare war. America is stunned. Americans rally to the defense of their country. Grant Farrell says goodbye to his girlfriend, Glenda.
I go to the Mexican border tomorrow. I'll try to write you from San Antonio.
Glenda forgets her past indifference to Grant as he goes off to war. But she is not content to stay at home. She enlists as a nurse. Glenda's train steams southward to the scene of battle as we continue with narrative after narrative box. Nobody talking. Grant Farrell does not make use of his magic powers at first. He remains an ordinary private. His division is stationed in an old Spanish fortress. Because, of course. Suddenly,
an attack! Call all men to arms! Prepare to defend the fort!
machine guns are hurriedly put to use.
Come on, boys! We'll knock 'em cold.
The enemy's heavy artillery makes a useless shell of the old fort. Greatly outnumbering the Americans, they advance rapidly. Grant overhears the captain.
It's no use. We can't hold out against such heavy odds.
Wasting no time, Grant turns into Thor and mounts the ramparts. He swings his powerful magic hammer toward the Grotnians. Into their midst it crashes, smashing cannons, tanks, and men in its wake.
Remind you of anything?
Endgame.
Well, I guess that's just a common theme with Thor anyways, right? And, anyone who depicts him as a hero, whether it's Fox or Marvel or whoever, right?
Well, he looks very Nordic, smooth-faced and smooth-headed and all that stuff, yeah. Content that his weapon had done a good job, Thor descends from the roof. Shocked and beaten, their war machine wrecked, the enemy hastily retreats.
Yeah, they kind of feel like they probably got stinged, don't they?
Yeah, by a magic hammer. Again in his own form, Grant greets his captain.
They're looking for shortcuts. They're looking for shortcuts home, Captain. You want to be the captain right there?
Farrell, you! What on earth did you do to rout the enemy? I don't understand. We don't have a decoration for miracle men in the Army, but I'll recommend you for a staff promotion. Suddenly, word comes of a fierce battle near Houston. Thor speeds to the battlegrounds. Raking the ground with a streaking bolt of lightning, he cripples the invading Grotnian forces. Seems like he could have saved everybody a whole lot of trouble. He could have just done this first time.
Well, I mean, any god could do it. I mean, just if you think about it, any god could really just settle any indifference, right? just by commanding it to be, right?
Suddenly, among the wounded on the American battlefield, Thor sees Glenda bending over a soldier. A deadly shell rockets from the air directly toward Glenda. Thor's hammer stops the missile in midair. He swoops down and lifts the wounded man in his arms. Carrying both of them, he reaches a hospital. The Grotrians are not discouraged. They send a huge fleet of bombers flying northward. Thor skims swiftly on their trail, and Glenda boards a Red Cross plane to follow the trail of destruction.
Don't you just love it when the girl always seems to just try to tries to get herself into trouble?
Well, she's a nurse, but she's the only nurse. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love nurses, but there's going to be a bunch of them going, not just one in a plane.
Yeah. Well, there's a particular reason why they're focusing in on this one. You want to take a wild guess at what it is?
She's the Lois Lane, I know.
Yeah, she's basically the love interest, and it's kind of she's in love with the hero, but more or less hates the normal guy.
Yeah,
kind of story.
The same triangle we saw in all of them. Over the peaceful Midwest farms, wing the black birds of death.
Oh, look at that. Read that line one more time.
Over the peaceful Midwest farms, wing the black birds of death.
That's just some word usage, huh?
They made their way into Kansas. My gosh, our defenses are just useless. The countryside is devastated by the merciless rain of bombs. Chicago is the destination, and death drops from the sky.
Read that last sentence starting with death. Read that part one more time, please.
Death drops from the sky.
I sometimes might have you read parts or just simply because I just like the word usage. You get what I mean? And how they put the words together sometimes.
Yeah.
Just sounds kind of good.
Chicago is ablaze.
I must get there before more damage is done.
Flying high above the flaming city, the enemy captain orders a second attack. The planes circle menacingly above.
Hey, what the? There's a man flying.
Soaring into the clouds before the plane flies Thor. From his hands shoots a huge web of lightning.
A web of lightning. There's something.
A giant lightning screen is thrown over the entire city of Chicago. The enemy planes are helplessly caught in the electric web.
That must be something. That must be something to fly into, huh?
Yeah, well, this is another case of give the hero whatever powers it takes to make the panel interesting. And
what was that?
This is giving the hero whatever powers makes the panel interesting at the time.
Or at least getting him to use the power in a way that makes it interesting, right?
Yeah. As they go up in flames, the pilots jump. Hundreds of parachutes drop from the planes. Thor descends to the ruined city. Most of the enemy pilots land just outside the city. Thor turns quickly back to Grant and hurries about the ruins. He hears moans. A child lies injured among the debris and the dead.
Ooh.
Grant runs
that's
to save
not
the
cool.
child.
That's not cool, huh?
People actually died in Chicago during a bombing in World War comics. But one of the invading pilots has landed nearby.
No,
yeah, we already ran to save the child.
Oh, okay.
He stealthily creeps up behind Grant.
I have to go through here to reach my regiment. So you must die, my friend, that I may pass.
Whoa, he's been hit. Hearing Grant's sudden cry, Glenda, who has been aiding the bomb victims, hurries to his side.
Are you hurt badly, Grant?
She helps him to an ambulance, and he is sped to the hospital. Several weeks later, the colonel of Grant's regiment visits him.
You want to do the colonel right there?
The enemy, what's left of it, is flying back to its own land, defeated thanks to you, Farrell. He decorates Grant with a medal. We still don't know what strange power you have, but America has been spared a long and frightful war. I give you a nation's thanks. We lost a city, a major city, but okay, sure, you did a good job.
Grant, I think I know your secret now, but I really like you for yourself.
No, they never do. Follow more of the thrilling exploits of the Thunder God in next issue.
All right. So, with that being said, now that we got the first story there done, overall impressions.
That was we have to have something in the book, so let's throw up a fight where this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and there was no long running plot line at all, which was common for a lot of comics back then. It was we know that the books were invented in the first place just to keep the presses running so the ink wouldn't dry on the drums, so they didn't have to stop the presses and clean them off.
Well, as I've told you before too, RJ, as I probably mentioned to you before, what we're doing now, I did for myself on a slightly smaller scale with just DC and those properties that were bought up by DC, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I discovered, particularly in quality, did this quite a bit. Even before we got into the war, where they'd start. It's like America would start a war with a country, and then it'd be over by the end of the story. It'd be like,
oh yeah,
and
yeah, it was sitcom warfare.
all these different countries that don't actually exist, like Takoya, Germania, Romania, that were just, but your overall impressions was, well, this is just filler, basically, is what your
Yep,
overall.
that was filler. There's a reason why this Thor is not the Thor we're reading in comics today.
Yeah. God of Thunder. Wayne says, "God of Thunder, be kind to nurses."
Yes, be kind to nurses. It's
All right. So with that, then I guess did you at least enjoy the story, even if it was filler?
I would have read through this one so quickly and not even given it a second thought.
Yeah.
But it was what it was.
Yeah.
I prefer of the Golden Age Thors, I think I prefer Dynamite Thor. The guy who gave himself an immunity to dynamite and then used it to fly by exploding it behind him and riding the concussion blast. I'm like, that's just the drug-fueled kind of superpower.
All right. Well, now we're going to move on to Science Comics number 5 here, and we will get into our next story involving Dynamo.
Ah, yes.
And just to be clear, this is Fox's version of Dynamo. Because apparently, there's a few other Dynamos out there aside from.
There it is. There's Wally Wood's Dynamo being the most important one, the leader of the Thunder Agents. Science Comics.
Number 5, June 10th. We get the same little thing talking about the giant comic scope.
Yep.
That's the eagle right there, carrying the girl in the sky and Dynamo Cosmic Cars.
The Eagle, another Hawkman.
Yeah.
And we're scrolling down. Which one are we looking for as we scroll through?
Dynamo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the second story. There it is.
Dynamo by Harold Weber. Working in his laboratory, Dynamo, wizard of electronics and the only human conductor of electricity, perfects the brainwave trap, a device which transmits to him only the thoughts of every mortal.
Wow, that's kind of an interesting power, huh?
Yes.
Being able
yes.
to.
I can.
Oh, go ahead.
It transmits to him only the thoughts of every mortal, just only the thoughts. Yeah, I like how they underplay it.
All right. All right, let's see. All right. You want? I think I was initially thinking that Dynamo was the guy in white, but I think it's guy
Yeah,
in color.
this is sort of like Bruce and Alfred both wearing masks in the Batcave when it's only them. But yeah, it's okay.
Well, I was gonna see if you wanted to do Dynamo or the guy on the left there at least.
I'll take Dynamo. When charged with 10,000 volts, this device will enable me to read the thoughts of every man, woman, and child in the world.
But isn't it dangerous?
Yes, Doctor. Here, I'll show you how it works. Dynamo approaches the control board and prepares to send the terrific voltage through his body.
Be careful.
With a blinding flash, the colossal voltage leaps through the brainwave trap, staggering Dynamo.
Oh no. Dynamo, are you all right?
I'm okay. Just a slight headache. But a very interesting headache. Step over to the window, Doctor. Thought waves coming from the south. I can see them. In a lonely house deep in a southern swamp.
You want?
If you mess this up, Olga, it'll be your finish. Get me?
Step on it. The boss wants the job done plenty fast.
Doctor, you may not hear from me for a while, but don't worry. I have work to do.
Good luck, Dynamo.
Exerting the great electric energy at his command, Dynamo streaks in pursuit of the speeding car.
Let's see. We must get to the high mountain to give Radnor the signal to blast the Panama Canal. Hurry! So just to give you a little heads up here, this story is about a plot to blow up the Panama Canal. Can you take a wild guess at why I chose this story?
Because we're buying it back.
Yeah, have you been hearing about some of the stuff going on between like the president of Panama and Trump and all that?
I have. We're gonna buy it back. It'll be ours again.
Huh.
Okay. The conspirators reached top of High Mountain before Dynamo. Left out some words in that narrative, but okay.
I hope he gets the signal.
Miles away, Radnor receives the signal, and with a terrific explosion, the eastern lock of the canal is demolished. Radnor prepares to blow up the other locks. Just a second, Radnor.
Ouch! What the?
Now for your little gadget. Radnor, this gentle shock will render you helpless until I return.
Now you see how they got the word bubble right there? Look where the tail is.
His arm is talking. Yeah.
Yeah, that they probably may have wanted to make that panel a little bit bigger, maybe.
They slapped this stuff together back then.
Yeah, I know that, Arden.
Yeah.
But it's funny when you're looking back on it, we can see some of these little errors here, and it's just funny to highlight them. You know, it's just to show how far we've come.
Oh, you can find a lot of bloopers in the golden age.
Oh, we do. We do.
Meanwhile, Olga and her friend, confident that their plan is a complete success, are returning to make their report.
Oh yeah, I guess I was doing both.
You did.
What's wrong here? This bus is slowing down. Maybe you need gas.
You have plenty of gas. Just get out and come with me. You won't need a car where you're going.
Why you?
Dynamo steps aside, sidesteps, and...
Come on, Clumsy. Up on your feet. We got a long walk in front of us.
Dynamo projects himself toward the Panama Canal to help restore the damaged locks. Arriving at the canal, Dynamo dives into the waters of the ruined lock. As his charged body submerges, the terrific voltage freezes the water into a solid mass of ice. Because that's what electricity and water does. It just freezes it. It's just...
Yeah.
Well, here's a science experiment, kids.
Well, one of the things we talked about several times when we do these shows, right? I've had these discussions with metal in particular, where when it comes to scientific knowledge, these writers are often kind of duncy. They
had the gall to call this science comics. and they're hey kids, want mom to have a nice cold bath? Throw the toaster in with her.
Yeah.
God.
It's funny though when you look back on some of this stuff and see some of this stuff. It is kind of hilarious.
There's a mad scientist at the comic book company going, electricity, such a mystery and such a magical thing to do anything.
Yeah. All right.
Emerging from the solid ice, Dynamo electrifies the debris of the locks, and they are restored at once. The news is flashed around the world.
You want to do the news guy there?
Mr. and Mrs. Worldwide, this man Dynamo single-handed not only rebuilt the lock, but he is now on the trail of the world's strongest gang of saboteurs. Back in the lonely house in the swamps.
You sound a little too quiet there.
Yeah, I got away from the microphone. I'm sorry.
Huh?
I got away from the microphone there. I'm sorry. Back in the lonely house in the swamps. Single-handed saboteurs? Da! Where is Radnor and Olga and that other fool?
Yeah, he's so insignificant. The guy doesn't even have a name. They just call him other fool.
He's the guy in the lonely house in the swamp. Meanwhile, Dynamo, his reserve of electric impulses rapidly becoming exhausted, reaches the lonely house. Professor Lago, don't move. I'm here to break up your gang of spies. You won't get... Oh. Having been deprived of the sun for more than 24 hours, Birdman's power is now waning.
Not quite.
Yeah, I know, but it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
his supply of electric energy completely spent. Dynamo slumps to the floor. While outside...
That's funny. Did you hear that thud?
Where have you two been? Where is Radnor? Where is my car? Dude, where is my car? And you, I told you it would be your last job, and I meant it.
No, you didn't, Lago. No, you didn't, Lago.
Stop it! Stop! I got enough. I have something to tell both of you. There is no sense in all of us killing each other. I'll kill you both and we'll be done. We are in plenty of trouble. I have Dynamo, a prisoner upstairs.
We gotta get rid of him. That guy is poison. Get rid of him? How?
He's powerless. A gun would probably do a real good job. While upstairs, Dynamo, quickly regaining his normal strength, looks about for a source of electricity to recharge the brainwave trap.
Oh, look here. He's gagged yet. They got him like...
If I plug into the regular outlet, Lago will notice the lights going dim. What's that noise?
Just a thunderstorm.
Oh, a
Let's
passing thunderstorm with lightning. I bet it'll strike him.
let's go up. Let's go up and finish that guy, will ya? I'm getting the jumps. The jumps.
Yeah.
What do you think that means? The jumps. What do you mean
He's getting nervous.
Mhm.
Ah, free at last. Climbs up on the roof. On the roof, Dynamo receives the full fury of the storm. Then, a terrific flash of lightning strikes the lonely house. It's alive! It's alive! The house bursts into a sheet of flames as the plotters run for their lives.
Hey, wait for me. Sorry, Olga. Every man for himself. You'll never get away. Look at the house.
Confound it! If he finds my chemical plant, my life's work will be ruined. I'll fix that. Dynamo, now fully charged by the bolt of lightning, rises above the ruins. Chemical plant. I must find it. Lago aims carefully. Lago's first shot goes wild, but one hits Dynamo, sending him down. Unconscious, Dynamo is dragged to the underground chemical plant. Hey. A little of this fluid will end Dynamo's troubles. Hey, what, where is he? Up here, Lago. You're not as good a shot as you thought. Don't drop that tube. I warn you. A chemical plant. For what? And a secret entrance underground. Show me around, Lago. I want to see more. Don't interfere, I say. Lago quickly jumps to a valve and turns it on. Lago, you asked for this. I'm paralyzed. Because electricity will do that.
At least they had that part right?
Yes. You won't be able to move as your muscles contract and you convulse on the floor. Dynamo follows the pipeline. Poison. Gallons of it. Emptying into a freshwater spring. I must find where this leads to. No, you need to shut it off. The city reservoir. After shutting off the valve, Dynamo speeds northward.
Dynamo, you're back.
Quick, Doctor. We can't waste a moment. Broadcast to the people of X-Town. X-Town? X-Town. It used to be a town. Now it's not. It's X-Town. Broadcast to the people of X-Town that they are not to drink a drop of water for 6 hours. Yeah, you can do that. I think the panel below is where we want to read. Dynamo concentrates a charge on the reservoir, and the water is purified by electrochemical action. An electrified thought wave directed by Dynamo demolishes the chemical plant.
Do you think you were right in the way we went, or should we have gone the other way?
No, that was right, I'm sure. Because they're parallel.
Dynamo, you've saved a whole city of people.
I have one more job to do. Off to finish the last detail, Dynamo flashes high above the clouds.
Great work, Dynamo.
There they all are, Chief. All but Lago. And we won't have to worry about him. Follow Dynamo's adventures in the next issue. Science Comic on sale the 28th of every month.
All right. So, with that, and those are the two long stories that we got there. Let's get caught up on the before I ask this. So Wayne says the good doctor loves naughty nurses.
Down, boy, down. Not that
Hey, Rick, thanks for dropping in. hopefully everybody's enjoying the show so far. So, why we, of course, let's see, before we do go on to the next story, overall impressions of this story.
Better than the last story, but still the same publishing company. So,
Yeah.
Again, science comics. Electricity can freeze water and purify it.
Bit of a misnomer, huh?
Yes. But
Yeah.
they wouldn't sell if the cover read "made up shit comics." Just
Probably not. Well, first, I don't even think that they would. I don't even think you would have been seeing a lot of swear words on titles at all back then either.
Oh no, you didn't.
Yeah. So, but then people would argue, well, made up though is accurate because obviously these are stories that are made up, right?
But the facts are being just they're not facts. Don't try this at home, kids. No. Wortham was right. Don't read this book.
Don't look to this book for guidance on anything. I'll put it that way, right?
Do not plan your school science experiment on this.
Well, here is another way of looking. Here's another way of looking at it from at least from how I when I'm talking about how these comic universes are like different worlds and stuff like that. Maybe what you could argue in a way is that the physics of the Fox Feature Syndicate universe are a little bit different than the physics of our universe.
Well, they would have to be for any of this to work.
Yeah, I mean,
he's seeing thought waves because he gets struck by lightning.
Even I kind of forgot to mention that too when we look at, we laugh at it because we know in our world that sounds absolutely ridiculous. But if you really think about it, maybe in the world that they're creating, this makes absolute total sense, right?
Yes, but here's what really happened, Mike. The man had his doctor assistant run 10,000 bolts through his body. Mm-hmm. He died. And all of this is in his head as his cerebral cortex is shutting down. Okay, that's why none of this matters, and it's all made up physics, because this is his dying dream. That I can accept. Now it makes more sense.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. So, anyways, let's get ready to move on. You ready to move on to the next story?
Please. Please.
And now we've hit the two longest stories. So now the next three will be like 8 pages apiece. So the next one we're going to do, head over to Fantastic Comics number 7. We're going to look at the Golden Knight. So we're going to take a little bit of a break from quote unquote superhero. And now we're going to go a little bit more back in time in Fox universe, go back to their medieval period, and we're gonna follow the adventures here today of the Golden Knight and his battle with the Hag of Blackmore. Let's see.
I'll be glad to do the Hag.
All right, let's see as soon as I can. Okay, yeah, fantastic. And this is the 1939 version, not the 1954 version. Just so everybody knows.
Fantastic Comics. Gift offers, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. The colors here are quite a bit brighter, aren't they?
Yeah, they got a good scan on this one.
Yeah. There's Samson right there. Now this Samson, just a little tidbit for you, a little tidbit information here. This Samson is a descendant of the biblical Samson in the Fox universe, in the Fox Feature Syndicate. This is a descendant of the biblical Samson. Going down to the Golden Knight. There's Flip Falcon. There we go. The Golden Knight right there.
The Golden Knight.
And then there's a seven.
Yeah. Okay. The Golden Knight by Greg Chapin. The Hag of Blackmore. Sir Richard, the Golden Knight, rescued Alice from the stronghold of the Black Death. We find him escorting her home. Alice and Richard are traveling through the much-dreaded Blackamoor Forest. Many were the weird tales about it.
Well, since you were going to do the hag as well, you want to do Alice as well?
Got it. Richard, I'm so afraid.
Don't fear, Alice. I am with you. Let me just make sure there's nothing down there.
Back. Suddenly, their horse stumbles, throwing Richard and Alice with terrific force. Alice breaks her leg in the fall.
Rest here, Alice, while I see what happened to our horse.
Do hurry, dear. My leg is so painful. A short distance away, Richard finds his horse with a broken foreleg. That's a leg-breaking territory right there, I'm telling you.
Oh, boy. Poor Whitey. There's nothing for me to do but kill you.
Thanks, boss!
Well, I mean, that's what you did when animals became lame, right? You put them out of their misery.
Yeah. Never figured that one out. Richard leads Whitey back of some rocks to spare Alice the sad sight.
I hate to do this, boy.
Richard leaves his dead horse, sadly. Darkness is coming on quickly, and Alice must have shelter and care.
The poor girl has fainted from pain. I must find shelter quickly.
What you need to have is splint setting lessons in your nightly training.
Now, I don't know if they even knew anything about that back in any medieval period. But
well, then why didn't he kill her? She broke her leg too.
Because she's
I don't know how to set her leg, but I can put you out of your misery. Here, just sit still. Hate to do this.
This is ideal. We can sleep here tonight.
Richard sets Alice's leg after having moved her several miles with her leg dangling, and the two of them fall into an exhausted sleep. Unknown to them, a sinister...
Okay, so I guess he does know how to set her leg. He just felt that...
Yeah, he just didn't do it there. He thought, I can carry you around, move that broken bone around. It's not going to hurt much. The old hag of Blackamoor Forest carries Alice away while Richard sleeps. Having hypnotized Alice, the hag gloats and chuckles evilly.
Now to deal with Richard.
A sixth sense wakens Richard. Suddenly, he looks up for Alice.
Alice, she's gone.
Suddenly, Richard is face to face with the old hag.
Hello? Looking for your pretty lady?
Enraged, Richard grabs her by the neck.
What have you done with Alice, you witch? Now, before we go on to the next panel, I want to say something here that even though this is a witch, even though she is evil, okay, you still would have some people today who would be screaming bloody murder because a man put his hands like this on a woman. Even though she is a witch, she is an evil witch. She probably deserves this, and yet you'd have some people who would sit there and say, abuser, domestic abuser.
He's just restraining her to interrogate her.
Anyways,
that was the good old days, Mike. Come on.
What was that?
That was back in the good old days.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he had, like liquor in his office cabinet back at work.
Yeah, I'm sure if he decided to put her over his knee, I'm sure they'd be screaming even more bloody murder.
I'm sure, yes.
I warn you, do not harm me, else Alice will never waken from my spell. Now you take orders.
You wretch! You are despicable, but I have no choice.
I knew you would listen to reason.
Well, here's a theory I want to throw out there.
Okay.
You know, would her spell still last if, let's say, her time on this mortal
If he
plane?
killed her. Just say if he killed her.
Yeah. I wasn't doing it to be. I wasn't doing it as much to. I wasn't saying it like that as much because I was worried that about anything like getting censored or anything like that. I was just more. I was being more comical in that essence.
Yeah.
Of being fancy, being fancifully comical and saying it like that. But yeah, but would the spell still work though? I guess to simplify it, if that's what you want.
It depends on what the writer wants. Yeah, it could last forever if she doesn't undo it, or it could be undone with her death.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the mythology in play. I've seen it in both cases.
Yeah. No.
You must fetch me the golden stallion of Ice Mountain. He alone can take me to the tree of eternal youth. I want to regain my youth and beauty.
You?
I was young once.
Richard dons his sparkling armor and walks to the edge of Blackamoor Forest with the old hag. She explains the difficult undertaking.
Yonder is Ice Mountain.
I would have never guessed.
I warn you, be cautious. Your task is extremely hazardous.
Oh, I didn't doubt that for a moment. Now, let me warn you. If you so much as touch a hair of Alice's head, I'll kill you.
Comely youth, keep your part of the bargain, and you'll have nothing to fear on that score.
After leaving the hag, Richard walks to the foot of Ice Mountain. He attempts to hack steps in the icy mass, but without much success.
At this rate, it would take me 100 years to reach the summit. If I don't freeze first, there must be another way.
Focusing his magic ring on the ice, Richard quickly melts steps into the frozen mass. Now see, okay, here's the thing. These people who have magic rings always think that the first thing to do is use the hammer and chisel. Like, I have a magic ring, but I can do this. I got this covered. I don't need the magic. Let Samantha snap the meal together, Darren. Come on, get with it.
This is more like it.
Just as he reaches the top of the mountain, a searing flame hits him.
Good Lord, what's this?
It was a searing flame, sir. Were you not listening? Protected by his magical cloak, Sir Richard is unscathed by the withering fire of the spitting fire dragon. He jumps back for a moment to gird himself for a telling lunge. Well, if it's a telling lunge, the dragon's going to see it coming. You got to go for those sneaky lunges.
Yeah. Whew. That dragon has some breath. Well, here goes. It's now or never.
And with a blood-curdling yell, Richard charges the deadly dragon, heedless of the fierce fumes and flames.
Yahoo! This is your end, you belching monster.
It's Fin Fang Foom!
Thanks to my cloak, I can get close enough to finish this devil off. This must be the castle where the golden stallion is kept.
Approaching the castle, Richard finds an iron gate barring his way.
This certainly isn't going to stop me.
With a heave of his broad and mighty shoulders, Richard crushes the iron gates like tin, which hadn't been invented yet, but would be someday.
uh,
Just then, the huge giant of the castle hears the noise of the ripping iron gate. He confronts Richard.
Ho, giant! I've come for your stallion. Ha ha! I can flatten you against the wall with my breath.
And he's got 3 teeth, too, so I imagine he probably could.
Oh, I guess there was a. I'm sorry, there was.
That's okay. Angered at Richard's threatening tone and the ridiculous size of his belligerence, the ferocious giant gives chase.
You'll have to catch me first.
While dodging in and out between the giant's huge legs, Richard trips and falls. In an instant, Richard sees a huge foot descending upon him. But you got a sword.
That must be something. Having a foot come stomping on you.
Yeah, but you've got a sword. Give him the old Lego treatment. With a quick thrust of his sword, Richard pierces the sole of the giant's gargantuan foot.
Gargantuan foot.
Gargantuan foot. It's big. That's a size 312 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Mad with pain, the huge fellow lunges at Richard and catches him.
Hey, so you think I'm done for, huh?
Drawing Richard closer to get a better look at his puny assailant, the giant makes his fatal mistake. Richard cleaves his head in two.
Ooh, ouch.
And you see it happening. Nicely done.
How do you like this? Ouch.
Look in the back. You can see his head going 2 different directions. No, I mean in the next panel.
Oh.
There.
Oh, yeah. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Now for the horse.
Richard finds the golden stallion, which will be a suitable replacement for the one he brutally murdered just 5 pages earlier. While Richard ponders how to descend the mountain, the golden stallion acts. Thank God you're safe, Richard.
Well, Hag, here's your horse.
Good, good.
Gratified, the hag attempts to mount the golden stallion. Children, avert your eyes. Suddenly, the horse rears, throwing the hag, and tramples her to death. Ah! Thank you, horse. As the hag breathes her last, a beautiful woman appears instead of the golden stallion. She smiles. Thank you, Richard, for breaking the spell of the evil hag.
It was a pleasure, madam.
I am rightful queen of Blackamoor. If ever you need help, blow on this horn. You know how to blow, don't you, Steve? My people will run to your aid.
Many thanks, my queen.
Don't miss the Golden Knight's adventures in the next issue. Fantastic Comics is on sale the 10th of every month.
All right, so
that was better. That was better. That was funny still, but that was better.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you overall impressions, and
these were fantasy elements. You can make up things in fantasy elements.
Yeah, so Rick is saying that Sixth Sense woke him up a little too late.
And by the way, we did discover that, yes, if the evil hag dies, her magic does wear off. So he could have just saved everybody by killing her right then.
Yeah, but they waited to bring that element into it until the very end of the story, of course.
Yeah, he didn't know that it would, so it makes sense.
Yes, she was young once, but was she beautiful once? Rick Rick asked a very interesting question.
In her own eyes, she probably was. She's a witch. She's a narcissist.
Yeah. All right. So we got 3 of the 5 stories out of the way. We're just past the 1 hour mark. How you doing, RJ?
I'm still alive. I'm still kicking.
Yeah. All
My
right.
cats are wondering why I'm making all these terrible noises at them, but
well, we got 2 more stories to get to, and then of course this week in Niche history. So hopefully tonight you'll be able.
Sound like Daddy.
What was that?
He looks like Daddy, but he doesn't sound like Daddy.
I give them voices too.
So now we'll get ready to move on to Mystery Men Comic, Volume 1, Number 11, and get to, of course, the most famous of all the characters that we know tonight, the Blue Beetle, Now, I think I've explained this to you before too, RJ. I usually will start out with the stories that have the most pages first, and then go in like descending order, just so we can get as much in as possible.
Yeah, it makes the next stories go faster, which actually
Right.
makes them feel more action packed.
Right.
I'm making up words tonight. I'm going to.
Well, if your lady friend has joined us at all, I wonder how she's
Oh, she'll tell me. I've got a cough drop at the ready because that Castiel voice. I said Castiel. Don't freak out. Yes, that's right. My Castiel voice really got into my throat there. It stayed there for a while. I could talk like that for a long time though.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here's issue 11 of Blue Beetle, and of course now, and look at that. There's Blue Beetle right there, and he's got the girl. Look at that right there. So he's holding the girl in his arm like this, and shooting a gun with the same hand.
Yeah, well, he's got to hold on to the logo with the other one.
Huh?
He's got to hold on to the logo with the other one there so he doesn't fall.
Well, not logo.
It's a line.
Clothesline.
Okay. Boy, I really want one of those comic scopes. It's been advertised to me 4 times now. I want one.
All right.
A Blue Beetle! The shadow of the Blue Beetle falls upon the underworld and strikes fear into the hearts of all criminals. But once again, the Blue Beetle, in reality Dan Garrett, a rookie member of the police force, must show that crime does not pay!
Hey, what's this?
They're holding up a cop. Now, that's cojones.
You want to do the thug right there?
Yes, but you passed up my words.
Oh, there was another? Oh, yeah, okay.
A policeman is making his rounds when he is suddenly stopped by 2 sinister-looking men.
Hmm. Oh, by Charles Nicholas, yeah.
Oh, him too, yeah.
Don't make any funny moves, Kappa. I've got an itchy trigger finger, see? Get into that car.
You can't get away with this.
The thugs speed their captive toward the seashore, where a medieval castle looms before them. Must be in Texas.
Why this is old Severa castle. It hasn't been occupied for years.
You'd be surprised, Kappa. Boss is anxious to see you.
The policeman is brought before a surly man.
Good work, boys. Now, remove his coat.
Oh, he just wanted a male stripper. Okay. Make him a cop, boys.
Is he the one, Mr. Taro?
Bah! You have brought me the wrong one again. Well, we've no use for this cop. May as well get rid of him now. Hey, wait. You can't do this. It's. Oh no. Who's going to stop me? Dump his body into the river.
The following day's newspapers carry the story on their front pages. You want to be the Blue Beetle?
Yeah, I'll be the Blue Beetle.
Then I will be this cop.
Okay, this guy, it's his partner, Mike Manigan.
Sure, and it's Mike Madigan. Yes, of course it's Mike Madigan.
Mm-hmm.
By golly, Don, you never can tell when we may be next.
Well. Be ready for them, Mike. Well, we'll be ready for them, Mike.
Just then, several gangsters approached the two officers.
Okay, coppers, yous are coming with us.
That's what you think.
That's what you. I think we were supposed to say it together because it looked.
Yeah.
Like,
1, 2, 3.
That's what you
That's
think.
what you think. In a flash, the two policemen bring their fists into play. Don't shoot him. The chief wants him alive. Come on, you rats. I can handle many more of you. Suddenly my Irish cop is Scottish. Using their guns as clubs, the thugs brutally pounce upon Dan and Mike and finally knock them into the world of darkness. That did it, boys. Throwing the two men into their car, the thugs speed for their hideout. Sometime later, Mike Manigan and Dan Garrett find themselves in a dank cell. Saints alive, Dan. My head's spinning like a merry-go-round.
Right now, Mike, we've got to think of a way out of here.
Okay, bud, you can come out right now.
All right, wise guy. Where to?
Taro orders Dan's coat to be removed.
Oh,
Now
now
we
we
should
shall
see.
see.
Yeah, that's the big bad guy.
Ah, yes, he is the one. See, he wears the belt of the Blue Beetle. Take him into the other room.
So you can see the belt buckle there with his coat open, but, just for funsies, take his coat and shirt off. The Blue Beetle is suspended from a beam. His feet are chained to the ground.
Somebody's doing a little BDSM.
Yeah.
When I press this lever, the beam rises, and your body will stretch. You shall die a slow and painful death.
The beam moves steadily. Beads of perspiration roll down the Blue Beetle's cheeks. The pain is terrific, but he utters not a sound. Never mind the pain. Your body is going to eventually rip in half, and your spinal cord is going to go pop.
Bah, see, he has fainted. Take him down.
So you didn't really want to kill him. You just wanted to mess with him. Gotcha. Okay. As two gangsters remove the supposedly unconscious Blue Beetle from the devilish device, he grasps him in a strangling grip. Right guard, dude. Right guard.
I was giving you both thugs there. Oh.
Yeah. Help. He's choking me. The Blue Beetle drops the thugs and turns on the leader, Taro, but another gangster blocks his path.
Stand where you are, or I'll fire.
Like a huge cat, Dan Garrett hurtles through the air and his body strikes the gangster, ruining his aim.
As Mike always says, I played for the Brooklyn Mud Hens. Interesting. So, just a little, well, I guess that's a football team, but like Brooklyn, of course, had their baseball team was the Dodgers, and Mud Hens was actually the baseball team of the of Toledo. Of course, I guess the Brooklyn Mud Hens though are a football team. the looks of it.
Looks like it. Putting on his coat and shirt and tie, the Blue Beetle goes to look for his companion.
I hope I can find Mike. Hey, Manigan, where are you?
In here, Dan. Door number 2. Locating Manigan, Dan uses his master keys. Because, of course, to open the cell door, something he couldn't do when he was on the other side of it. Sure, and I'm glad to see you're alive, Dan. What did those crooks do to you, Dan?
No time for that, Mike. We've got to get out immediately. Stand where you are, or shall I be obliged to snuff out your life right now?
Unsuspectingly, Taro moves toward Dan.
So, you think you're smart? If I wasn't, I wouldn't have caught you.
Dan Garrett swiftly kicks the cell door. It strikes Taro, making him drop his weapon. By golly, good work, good work, Danny boy.
What the?
Taro flees from the 2 policemen. Where to now, Dan? Shall we follow him?
No, Mike, we wouldn't catch him. He probably went through a secret panel.
Inflamed with anger, Taro screams like a madman. His voice echoes throughout the entire castle. Maybe you could just hear
You'll
him.
never leave this house alive. I'll blow you up with it.
Searching for a means of escape, the officers are stopped by 2 remaining thugs. Not this way, coppers. Put down that gun.
Drop to the floor, Mike. You missed by a hair, brother. But I'm not missing you, rats.
By golly, Dan, I'm getting tired of this.
And you can tell he's Madigan's a little bit older. Now, I don't know if you knew this or not, how much of Blue Beetle's early history you were aware of. Mike Madigan was also Dan Garrett's father's partner years earlier. Huh?
So basically it's, by golly, Dan, I'm supposed to be retiring.
Yeah.
Running to another chamber of the castle, they find an unbarred window.
There's our only chance of escape, Mike.
Come on, Dan, let's go. It's quite a jump, Dan.
We've got to leap now or be blown up with this castle.
There he goes. Well, if that young rascal can do it, so can I. As Dan and Madigan reach safety, a tremendous roar fills the air.
Boom! Boy, we sure got out in the nick of time.
Glory be. The next day, Dan and Mike are again on their beat. Sure, and it was an exciting experience we had, Dan.
But you don't know the reason for his kidnapping us, Mike.
That I don't, Dan.
Well, he thought that one of the men on our force was the Blue Beetle. So he was bent on finding and killing him, thus gaining the respect of all criminals. Then he could do what he pleased.
So he did it for the clout. Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, he didn't kill him though. He just tortured him.
Yeah. And he's still out there and knows who he is now. Okay. Sure, and he was mistaken to think one of us was Blue Beetle.
I'll say why none of us could possibly be the Blue Beetle.
Yep. The Blue Beetle will appear again in the next issue. Mystery Mint Comics is on the sale 15th of each month.
All right, so overall impressions.
Well, it's the Blue Beetle. Come on, we don't know why this guy thought the Blue Beetle was a cop. Maybe it was told in a previous story. We don't know what he's going to do with the information now. We don't know why he didn't kill him, why he has an elaborate death trap, why, it's like, hold him there, man. Yep, that's the belt buckle. Bullet worked just fine for the last cop, but no, had to kill the Blue Beetle special.
All right. So, Seven, hello, Seven. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're enjoying the show thus far. Just a friendly reminder to everybody, of course, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions the best of our ability. YouTube user says, "Oh my God, OMG." And then cross comments. That arm holding onto Rick is saying here, that arm holding onto the woman is a bit off.
It's AI.
I don't think they had AI back in 1940. But even I kind of found a little bit, he's holding it, but also holding the gun and shooting the gun. I mean, that I would think that there is.
It was absolutely AI. In this case, AI stands for awkward illustration.
Oh, okay. Not artificial illustration like we know of today.
No.
All right. So I don't know if I asked this already, RJ, but overall impressions.
Yeah, you asked it, and I went over the whole story.
Okay. Yeah, you pretty much said you liked it. So, all right. So now we'll move on to, of course, the last story we're going to read tonight. We'll head over to Wonderworld Comics, look up Yarko the Great. And let me just say this as we're on our way over there. RJ, with some of like the Hag and with Mike Madigan, with some of the accented voices, and you're doing a great job there, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Actually, I might have you do Yarko too.
Yarko, what I have to see him.
All right. Let's see. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wonderworld Comics.
Is he like a mystic wearing a turban?
Mm-hmm. Kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of in the same vein of guys like Ibis and Snargon and El Karim. Again, switching things up, going to a magician here. There's the flame there, trying to get. Look, got a bound woman there.
Yep, that seems to have been
look like the bad guy's been a little rough with her, huh?
Yeah, I think they've used the same model for the woman on the cover of everything we've seen tonight.
I don't know. I've seen some, hair color, differences. So there's the flame, of course. Here's Yarko right there.
Yarko, master of magic. Yarko the Great. By Anthony Brooks. Out of the ages comes a curse which all science cannot overcome. The curse of Hagate, bringing untold suffering upon mankind.
Newsflash!
A quiet evening at home. A radio. And what's that? I've got my turban unwound. I'm not ready to go out.
A mysterious disease has broken out in Tanganyika, Africa. Thousands are dying. It is spreading throughout the world. Medical action is helpless.
Disease. I wonder. I must act now. I must concentrate.
I think that he's more thinking that than saying that. You see the little bubbles there?
Yeah, I know.
Turks and Arabs are succumbing in droves.
I I must act. I set my mind on Africa. Africa and its peoples.
Okay.
It is true that the natives are suffering untold horrors. Anguished Africans, driven to madness by the mysterious disease, commit suicide in droves before Yako's astonished eyes. The medical profession throughout the world can find no source nor cure for the dread malady.
This is the strangest disease I've ever seen. We're helpless. It is worse than the Black Death.
There is a cause of this pestilence. There must be a cause, and I shall find it. First, I transfer my spirit to far-off Tanganyika. I see a castle. I must find it. Calling forth the powers of his telepathic mind, Yako suddenly finds himself before the grim walls of a forbidding castle. I think they mean foreboding castle, but that's okay. This is comics. Buzzards. These must be the place I'm looking for. The source of the disease lurks within those walls. The very stench of this place is unbearable. I'll investigate.
Yeah, that's what you do, right? Well, of course,
Yeah.
that is what you do when you're a hero, of course.
Of course. Well, you do it all the other time, you know?
That's bad. You have to walk further into it.
Yeah, there's a bad smell in the kitchen. I shall look behind the fridge. Pestilence. So you're behind all this.
No, Yarko. I am but a tool of one who is mightier than you. Even you cannot free me. I am the slave of Hans von Lundberg, the mad archaeologist. He has found the curse of Hecate. He commands me to spread disease. Where he wills it, even death respects Herr von Lundberg.
I'll deal with this von Lundberg. Hans has a formidable bodyguard. Oh, no. I'll do it.
Huh? You
I'll
want to
do
do it? You want to do it?
Oh, no. You do it.
Big house, belong boss. You know can go in.
You tell Boss Yarko no can understand. One side, stooge. The powerful guards. Oh, wait, there we go.
Yeah.
The powerful guards, angered at Yako's bold defiance, swooped down to prevent his visit to the mad scientist. No, he's a mad archaeologist. Get the career straight here. I want to see a mad accountant sometime. These things don't balance.
Isn't that what calculator is? Isn't calculator the mad accountant?
Mad accountant, yeah, that works.
Uh,
Oh, there are too many of them. I'll become invisible. There's a thought. You should have done that before you walked into the room.
I see no one. He is ugh.
But a wild swinging guard catches Yako a stunning blow with the hilt of his sword, his broken sword that he's holding by the blade. Foolish man, he has no fingers left.
Now, Mr. Funny Man, you go see boss, but you know nothing about it. Herr von Ludberg, I bring a visitor, an intruder. Since I did Hecate and the thug, you want to do the?
Oh, sure.
Yes, I know. It is Yarko. Bring this wine in. I can use yet another guinea pig to test my rare disease germs on.
Wait.
And look at that! Look at that! You got the girl in the tube there.
He's got the girl in the tube. He's making disease germs, but he controls pestilence. So, what's he making his own for? Ha! You come to your senses, and just in time, my friend. I am perfecting a rare new malady. Not so easy, von Lundberg. You have dealt with forbidden things. Your hands are stained with human blood. You will pay dearly for your crimes.
And funny how he talks about his. Well, look at how they framed this too, right there. So he talks about his hands being stained with blood, and he's of course doing this with his blood.
Yeah, they are. I don't. No, there's no blood. I have washed my hands. Fool, to think that you can stop me now, when I am ready to convoke the curse of Hecate. My disease has already depopulated Africa. You and the girl shall be the first step in the banishment of the white race. Wait a second, you're.
Does it remind you of anything current?
Nope, not at all. Not touching it.
What about the white knight liberals? The woke white knight people?
Not touching it. He's going to banish the white race. And
yeah, but we have a lot of people today who are wanting to quote unquote banish white race, even though they are members of the white race.
Yep, I think there was a coloring problem here, but okay. You're mad, quite mad, and you haven't a chance to carry out your fiendish plans. Yarko commands it. Mad am I? We shall see. It is you who will go crazy when you feel the effects of my germ injections. Why, he's disappeared. It is you who becomes the guinea pig. You will change places with the girl. Let me out! Not so fast, Herr Maniac. I have a better plan. Pestilence, I command thee to appear. We'll take this man to the shadow of death. If death is willing to claim him, you shall be free from slavery. Yarko and Pestilence carry the infuriated Hans into the forbidding valley of death. Again, it's probably foreboding, but the man had one word and he used it twice. Death, do you hear me? It is Yarko.
I can go no further until the master wills it. Oh, up, Pestilence! You, Yarko, you are here to cheat me of more victims. I warn you, I will have none of your bargains. I'm
offering you a richer prize than a mere man. Will you take von Lundberg in exchange for the scourge of pestilence?
No, I'll not change many victims for one man.
Then you admit defeat. It is von Lundberg, not you, who really controls your servant Pestilence.
No, no one but I shall ever master my slave. I take von Lundberg.
Interesting look for death.
Yeah, kind of an older guy, almost like a kind of a slightly deformed version of Phantom Stranger, if you think about it.
Yeah, I like it. It's much better than I expect him to just throw like a hooded skeleton, the typical Grim Reaper character.
Yeah. Well, and look at von Lundberg right there.
Yeah, he's in his own little Tupperware container, and death is taking him. Now, Pestilence,
it will be good to sleep again.
Now, Pestilence, you may rest. Yarko wills it.
It will be good to sleep again. The disease has disappeared as suddenly as it arrived. Science is stumped.
More mysterious adventures of Yarko, the great master of magic, in the next issue.
All right. So overall impressions of that story.
This story recognized what young boys want and threw it in there and didn't give it any element to the story at all. That girl said nothing, did nothing. She was eye candy in the panels that she was in. That's her whole purpose.
She was kind of the eye candy damsel in distress bit, right?
Yep. Just stand there and look pretty.
Yeah. Give the hero something to save, right?
That's right.
So let's see. YouTube users, and I especially appreciated the castle voice.
That's Castiel, and you're welcome.
Castiel, okay. All right. Well, now that we've gone through each story individually, now of course time for the looking at the whole experience overall. So of course we went through 5 stories tonight, RJ. Of the 5 go ahead.
I know where you're going, so I've already got my answer prepared.
Okay. Well, of the 5 stories, which one did you like the most? Which one made the most, gave the biggest impression?
Probably the Golden Knight, because you could pull off all that nonsense and not have to explain the logic because it was fantasy. And the same goes for Yarko, the Magnificent, because again, magic. Anything can be done when it's magic. The other stories, science. I'm sorry, somebody got all their science off the back of a Bazooka Joe gum wrapper.
Yeah, well, or as I mentioned earlier, the likelihood is that the physics of the Fox Feature Syndicate world is a bit screwy compared to the physics of the real world.
Oh, more than just a bit screwy, yes.
All right, so you liked the Golden Knight the best. So now you probably know what's coming as well. Of the remaining 4 stories, which one did you like the least and why?
Dynamo got kids killed. I mean, you hear the stories of kids who tied capes around their neck and jumped off barns or set themselves on fire because they thought they were the Human Torch. No, Dynamo was teaching them flat out, look what electricity can do.
Oh yeah, as you were putting it, yeah, you want to warm up, you want to cool off,
freeze that water. Just throw the hair dryer in the bathtub. It'd be all nice.
All right, so overall, of the story select, because we had like basically 3 superheroes and a couple of like kind of you had the medieval type story with the knight, you had the magician story. Overall, what was your impression of the selection of stories we chose tonight? And did you like the mix of it and all that?
It was a good mix, but Fox, man, they were really just throwing it against the wall with their stories.
Kind of like just throwing it against the wall and seeing what sticks.
We have a deadline, boys. We do a comic every 15th of the month. We got 100 stories to write before then, so crank it out. Like, okay, well, this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens.
Never mind. They don't take the time to actually think about what they're writing and make sure that it's actually. But then, as I said, that I think in some respects that could, granted we laugh at it because in the world we live in, it just sounds utterly ridiculous, right? But if you think about it, the whole idea of going to like these other worlds with these comics, right? As I often talk about, and they have their own set of physics, they have their own set of science, rules and all that, scientific rules and all that, So there's that element to that, So let's see. So we're at 1 hour 44 now. Anything more you want to say about what we read, or?
Oh, no. I think I tended to say everything during the course of the reading.
All right. Well, the YouTube user said that they were all fun. Yeah. Would you agree with that sentiment? Were they all fun, RJ?
Hey, if YouTube user thought it was fun, then I will. Who am I to disagree? I will never disagree with YouTube user.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So with that, then what we will do now, we'll start to wrap things up here. What we are going to do now that we've finished reading for the night. So now we're gonna get to the last segment of the show before we close everything out. Before we do our closing. So today is, of course, Sunday, January the 5th, 2025. So let's take a look back at this weekend. This weekend.
Get to the words. Niche history.
Just looking through them stuff. All right. And first up, going back in time through yesterday here.
One day.
First up, we're going to head back 25 years ago. As on yesterday's date, 25 years ago, New Japan Pro Wrestling held its Wrestling World 2000 event from the Tokyo Dome, which they now starting all the way back in, I believe it was 1991. New Japan would hold a show in Tokyo Dome. It went under a few different names. Nowadays, it's called Wrestle Kingdom, which was, of course, yesterday. But 25 years ago, yesterday, back in 2000, here are some of the, of course, it saw the return of Chris Benoit under the ring name Wild Pegasus, a character he played while in New Japan. This was just before he went back, just before he along with the other Radicals made their debut in WWE. Rick Steiner and Randy Savage also made appearances there, basically as freelancers. So on the show, let's see, the main event saw Tensei Sasaki defeat Genichiro Tenryu to become the new IWGP Heavyweight Champion. In a match in which one of their respective factions would have to disband. The loser would have to have their factions disband. Masayo Chono, his team.
If you say so.
What was that, RJ?
I said, if you say so.
And Keiji Muto with NWO Japan. Chono won, so NWO Japan was forced to disband. You also saw Rick Steiner actually defeat Randy Savage in a one-on-one match. Scott Norton defeated Don Fry. Yuji Nagata defeated Kazuyo Yamazaki in Yamazaki's retirement match. In a match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, in a match in which Koji Kanemoto came in as a third Tiger Mask, in a match that, aside from being for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, was also a mask versus mask match, in which the loser would have to unmask. Jushin Liger retained the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title over Koji Kanemoto. Hiroshi Tenzan defeated Wild Pegasus. Shiro Koshinaka defeated Satoshi Kojima, and the show opened up with the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles on the line as champions Shinjiro Otani and Tatsuhito Takawa defeated the challenge of Kendo Kashin and Minoru Tanaka. So that happened 25 years ago. Now getting ready to move on to the next piece of niche history from yesterday, which was 5 years ago yesterday. So 5 years ago yesterday, as soon as I bring that one up, of course. Let's see. 5 years ago yesterday, debuting on Netflix, was Go Go Corey Carson. It went until 2001. It was an American CGI animated children's television series created by Alex Wu and Stanley Moore. So 5 years ago, yesterday, VTech and Kiku Studios, Go Go Corey Carson premiered on Netflix 5 years ago yesterday. Now moving on to today's date. Your little kitten want to find out what's going on there, RJ?
No, she wants to jump down now. She just wanted me to pay attention to her.
All right. Well, 50 years ago today, on this date, 50 years ago today, Ziyu Azo's anime adaptation of Dog of Flanders premiered on Japanese television on this date 50 years ago today, for the network known at the time as FNS, now today known as Fuji TV. So 50 years ago today, Ziyu Azo's anime adaptation of Dog of Flanders premiered on FNS in Japan on this date 50 years ago. And finally, on this date 30 years ago, which was 1995, on this date 30 years ago today.
No way 1995 was 30 years ago. I refuse to believe that.
It was, well, 5 minus 5 is 0.
I know how to do math.
You can't take 9 away from 2 because it's too small, so you have to borrow from the 20 to 19, and then add the 10 to the 2. With 12 minus 9 is 30.
I concede. I bow to the math.
On this date 30 years ago, Aardvark-Vanaheim's 190th issue of Aardvark-Vanaheim's Cerebus went on sale on this date 30 years ago. Sold for $2.25. Was 40 pages. Had a couple stories in it. Cerebus's Mothers and Daughters 40, and then Red Planet. So that was 30 years ago. So with that, I do thank everybody for being here. Now, before we do go, of course, RJ, would you like to do any closing promotions? Share any links? I think you know the
so many things going on right now. Just watch criticalblast.com. Go to the bookstore tab, and just keep checking the books we're adding. We're trying to break into new markets. We're trying to get into those comic stores. We've got comic stores reaching out to us now that actually have accounts that can buy the books at their wholesale price, so they can sell them at the retail price. And just keep looking. If you need help with shipping, check the logistics tab. That will tell you how to contact us, and we'll give you some quotes for shipping your product. And as always, everybody who just came here, much love.
All right. Anything more? Or
nope.
All right.
We'll say too much as it was.
If you can stick around for a couple of minutes after the show for post-show, that'd be appreciated.
Got my calendar.
All right. With because you know what's coming, right? You know what's coming.
Yes, I do.
All right. So with that, I do thank everybody for being here. I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow night with, of course, our nightly Niche newscast, where we'll look back at articles, in the world of Niche in terms of anime, cartoons, comics, manga, pro wrestling. And then, of course, next Sunday, we'll have, I believe I'll have Metal joining me, as we'll be looking back to comics that went on sale in 1940. I believe that we will be going over stuff from Holyoke, I believe. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.